To bring in the next billion people into crypto, they need better interfaces and a more seamless experience.
Welcome to the Financial Fox, investing and innovation ideas with a twist. I'm your host, Steffy B, and in this episode, I will be joined by Li Jiang, Chief Operating Officer of Harmony, an open and fast blockchain focused on scaling Ethereum applications and allowing cross-chain finance. So, that is going to be very cool. We are going to talk about DeFi and all the different aspects of scalability, security, interoperability, and all the different chains out there, layer 2. So I'm sure you're going to find this episode very interesting.
Blockchain provides a way for us to exchange in a transparent, secure, and immutable, censorship-free way, right? So those are the benefits. And that can serve a lot of users.
Right. Before we go into the episode, I want to talk about my new crypto web domain name, financialfox.crypto, which I got it from Unstoppable Domains, that is creating a new generation of web domains, which are actually domain names on a blockchain. So you buy them once and they are yours forever, and you don't have to worry about renewable fees anymore. They are decentralized, so no one can take them down or hack your data or your website. And because they are effectively NFTs, you can trade them and make money once the decentralized web will be taking over the internet, because this is what is going to happen. And the cool things that I really like is that they make crypto payment very easy. So you add your wallet address to your web domain and you basically forget about it. And when you need to get paid, you just give your crypto web domain address and voila, the money are there. How easy is that? So if you want to get your Unstoppable Domain website, just go in the description and you will find a referral link that you can use, and that will help to support the channel. And if you want to do a little bit more because you like our work, the content that we produce, then you can make a donation in Ethereum or Bitcoin or USDC to financialfox.crypto, and that will be super appreciated. But let's go into the episode. Hi Li, how are you?
I'm doing great, Stephanie. How are you? Thanks for hosting this.
No, it's great. It's great to have you on the show because, I think it's important to kind of, for people in the crypto community to open their eyes at the different realities, different blockchain. And I mean, I've always been talking about Ethereum, Bitcoin, then you might talk about Cardano, Polkadot, but then you come across amazing project like yours. And it happened in kernel, and I said, okay, what is Harmony? What are you doing? And then I discovered that actually you are a layer 1, right?
Yeah.
And you're doing such amazing things on your blockchain. So maybe shall we start with that, and you can explain, obviously, give us some information about yourself and how you got involved with Harmony, and then what is Harmony and why starting a completely new blockchain rather than working with Ethereum, for example? So what is basically special about your protocol?
Yeah, great to be on the show today, and definitely want to introduce Harmony. So we actually started about almost 4 years ago with the idea of scaling blockchain. And we come from a background in Silicon Valley of engineers who have worked on infrastructure projects like Google Maps, Google Play, Apple, Facebook, you name it, Amazon Web Services. And so we come from understanding how to scale global infrastructure to billions of users. And we saw that, there's an opportunity to build something more scalable in the blockchain world after seeing, how Bitcoin came up and of course Ethereum. And that's how we got started. And so we've been building our product for the last 3.5 years. Our mainnet's been launched for over 2 years now, with over, I think, 50 million transactions on mainnet. And we are a layer 1, as you mentioned, blockchain that is able to run basically any applications, whether it's DeFi, NFT, identity, DAOs, and we're fully compatible with Ethereum. So all the tooling all the user tools like MetaMask that people can use, all the deploy tools that developers can use. So actually an Ethereum developer can launch, if they build a product on Ethereum, they can launch on Harmony within maybe a day or two. Some of our partners can do it very quickly to deploy. So we are also now having built a bridge between Ethereum and Harmony and a bridge between Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. And we're in the process of doing that with Bitcoin, the Polkadot ecosystem, the Cosmos ecosystem, and a number of other ecosystems as well, so that we can, hopefully bridge all the major ecosystems and give developers and users a more seamless experience to inter-blockchain using a single, point without having to worry too much about what chain they're actually using in the future. So that's just a quick intro of where Harmony is. Love to dive into a lot of all the details that you mentioned.
And how long have you been involved with Harmony?
So I've been for almost, I've been involved since the early days, actually, as a supporter and friend of the whole team. And then I joined in 2018, and I've been involved since then.
Okay, listen, let's maybe break all this concept down. First of all, scalability, right? So we know that one of the big problems of Ethereum is obviously scalability. So that's why there are many layer 2 out there, for example, like Polygon, they are trying to solve this problem. How Harmony is approaching scalability?
Yeah, so we started with scalability in mind by the concept, by using the concept of sharding and proof of stake and putting that into production. So as you know, Ethereum 2.0 has been talking about, putting all the nodes in different shards so that they can speed up the transactions and moving from proof of work to proof of stake. So we started with those two concepts, and actually putting those into production is not trivial. So it took a lot of effort, and we were able to launch our mainnet with sharding and proof of stake with 1,000 node slots, and with proof of stake with now over a few $100 million worth of stake that secures the network. So we think that this approach is designed to be scalable fundamentally, because now you can add as many nodes and as many shards as you want and as we need in order to scale up the number of transactions that the whole blockchain can process. So we built this, the fundamental layer has scalability and decentralization, security, all these things in mind, right? So that it's part of our DNA, it's part of our infrastructure, and that for years to come, it can scale with the growth of the blockchain industry, which we think it's going to be tremendous in the next, we all think it's going to be very, very exciting.
So can we maybe give some numbers, like some comparison on how many transactions can be done and cost as well?
Yeah, sure. Happy to share, because we designed our protocol to be fast and affordable to use. The transaction speed is the transactions are finalized in 2 seconds on the Harmony blockchain. If block time is 2 seconds, we want transactions to be even finalized in 1 second in the future. So if you imagine using DeFi, right? If you now do a trade on a decentralized exchange on Ethereum, it takes, I don't know, sometimes it takes many seconds or even a few minutes to finalize, depending on how congested the network is. On Harmony, hopefully the experience is really 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and you're done, right? Including all the front end and everything being responsive. So that's a radically different experience. And the fee for doing a transaction is right now close to zero. It's almost zero at this point, and you can do hundreds of swaps or exchanges or sending NFTs to your friends for almost no cost, which if you were to do it on Ethereum, it would be very cost prohibitive, right? Like a new user.
It was crazy at some point, even to just do a small transaction. It was more the fee than.
Yes, exactly. So a new user. So one thing we think, a new user coming into crypto and blockchain, they need thousands of dollars and just to participate on Ethereum, right? We hope to help people who have even $10 to $100 be able to think about, how to start in blockchain, right? And so actually one of the cool things recently is we change our network parameters to allow anyone with 101 tokens, which is about $5 to $10, let's say $8 to $10, to be able to stake in the network. So can you imagine you have $10 you can stake in the network and you can start earning your staking rewards. That's radically broadening the scope of allowing people to come into the blockchain industry as a whole.
No, definitely. And talking about security, how you maintain and guarantee security in Harmony? Yeah,
so right now with our proof of stake, with our validators, we have over 110 external validators. So these are validators all around the world. They run our blockchain. They have between them and the delegators, they've put in $500 million worth of tokens to secure the network. So they have a very strong incentive to basically keep the network running, be upgrading, maintaining the security, and obviously not attack the network. So that mechanism has been in place for the last year and a half, and we want to keep growing that. We want to grow to 1,000 validators so that it can be even more decentralized, even more secure, with no single point of failure, but also with a lot at stake, so that no one is incentivized to attack them.
I'm gonna stop you here, because having so many validators and in a way being a proponent of on-chain transaction,
yes.
How do you maintain scalability?
Yeah, so we think the world is going to move on chain. Basically.
Because that's when I hear a lot about, right, it's better to take off chain. So I'm kind of happy to hear something different. So please explain that.
I think what I'm saying is that overall, right, if you look at the world in terms of financial transactions, in terms of assets like NFTs or like collectibles that we own, we envision all of that moving on chain from like traditional centralized database or servers, or a lot of that will move on chain in the next few years, because because of some of the benefits of blockchain being global, being able to track, being able to be censorship resistant in terms of the transactions. I'm not saying we should store like literally everything in the world on the chain. I'm saying that transactions that blockchain provides a way for us to exchange in a transparent, secure, and immutable, censorship-free way, right? So those are the benefits, and that can serve a lot of users. Meaning, you can permissionlessly own your financial assets, your collectible assets, your identity that cannot be changed or altered by, let's say, government or any other forces. And you are able to own your votes in the form of DAOs, right? As they start to be organized and vote in a transparent and fair way, which is something we take for granted, maybe in the United States, or maybe not after the last election, but something that is a better, we're basically building a better foundation, have all these benefits, right? So I see the world moving towards on-chain transactions, on-chain security. We actually have a talk called harmony.1/on-chain, where we talk about all these topics. So yeah, I think that's really great to share.
If that is not impacting scalability?
So of course it does in the short term, right? Because we saw this with our mainnet, that a few weeks ago, we saw a lot of transactions from the launch of new products on Harmony. And there were even some spam transactions. So we had to figure out how to resolve those issues with our engineering team. And I think we're coming to a good solution now. But this is a necessary problem to solve for the whole industry. And because we are a sharded protocol that can expand to any number of shards, right? We can add more nodes, we can add more shards to the network to parallel process more transactions. We're able to handle more and more transactions in the future.
Yeah, I think that's interesting what you said. If there is a problem which is well recognized by everybody, perhaps rather than try to find an alternative solution, we might need to eat it at the core and try to solve it with a solution that is not, just something else that represent the problem again. Anyway, talk a little bit about bridges, which are a big part of Harmony, and then we can go a little bit more into cross-chain finance.
Yeah, so bridges are something that's very core to us because we believe in a multi-chain world in the future, right? So we see not only Harmony growing, but many ecosystems will grow, right? They'll serve different communities, they'll serve different purposes. Obviously, we want to be one of the biggest communities and ecosystems, but it's important to have more, to bring in the next billion people into crypto. They need better interfaces and a more seamless experience. We don't want them to have to wonder, which chain do I use, what product, what are all the different versions, what are the trade-offs? Not everyone will want to even try to understand all these, right? So what we want to do is build the best bridging infrastructure, connect all the major ecosystems, and then basically abstract some of the details away from even developers and users so that they don't have to worry about whether I'm using this chain or that chain. They can deploy their product on Harmony, let's say, and they can access all the assets that we have a bridge to using our bridge API. So you don't need to, build a separate version for all these things, access assets on all these platforms. They build once on Harmony and then run with all the chains.
And those are decentralized bridges?
Yes, exactly. We work with some of the top researchers to design trustless bridges with very gas efficient transactions.
Okay, explain to me a little bit why, decentralized bridges versus centralized bridges and how the bridges works within.
Yeah. So the core idea is a trustless bridge is where you don't have to trust like a specific third party or any party. You just need to trust that the two blockchains are working, right? Between, let's say, Ethereum and Harmony. And they're basically different components where they're reading the transactions on both sides on Ethereum and Harmony. So if you move an asset from Ethereum to Harmony, your asset gets locked on the Ethereum side, gets minted on the Harmony side, and the components of the bridge are making sure that those assets are staying locked or minted. And then if it goes the other way, it makes sure that it gets burned and released on the other end. So basically, you don't need to trust like a bank or a third party or any like company to do this for you. Of course, today there are a lot of centralized solutions, right? But we think that decentralized solutions will grow and be potentially bigger, probably bigger than centralized ones. Just like how you see today, decentralized exchanges are bigger than most of the centralized ones now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess the main aspect is still user experience. So try to get the best user experience.
Yeah.
In decentralization sometimes is a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's something that you see happening, but I think that there's at some point it'll flip where the experience of decentralized products will be better than centralized products because the innovation is happening so much faster, and all these protocols are composable with each other. They're open source for the most part, and like you can iterate and build so much quicker, and everyone's building new versions of products, right? So everyone can take the best ideas and implement them very quickly.
Exactly. So let's forward think like 10 years from now and looking at the world of finance. So now is still centralized finance and decentralized finance that is pushing. Then your plan and what you're working towards is a cross-chain finance within the decentralized finance umbrella. So let's look a little bit ahead and tell me, how do you envisage the system to become and the role that Harmony is playing?
Yeah, so I think in the next few years, 10 years, like, again, we think all a lot of transactions will move on chain. A lot of financial activity will be running on blockchain as opposed to, today's system of legacy systems between banks, between commerce. I mean, sending money to someone internationally today is still a very tricky thing, especially large amounts or high frequency. Like but blockchain is able to, solve that for the entire world, so that we can exchange value on the internet very quickly, 1 to 2 seconds. And like the we go more philosophical in terms of talking about trade and specialization, right? Like the world economy grows because of trade and specialization, and credit and these like modern finance concepts. And blockchain will serve to turbocharge all of these things by making it global, making it accessible to everyone in the world. If you were like today, you see developers who are in high school or middle school building applications on blockchain that are actually creating real value for themselves, for their family, for their community, for even for the broader world. And so you get to do that. You can't do that in the traditional world. They would never be able to raise money.
Exactly. But when you are saying cross-chain finance, that you mean that you envisage a space where there will be different blockchain, different chain cooperating, yes, specializing in something, and they will be all working together.
Yeah. So I didn't answer the cross-chain part, but yes, we see it being all the chains becoming more interoperable with each other, and ideally there would be APIs or middleware layers, tools that would abstract away like which chain you're using. It would just say, okay, you need this asset from this chain, it'll pull it. You need this asset, you get it. And we think some of our partners, for example, like Sushi or other DeFi projects, can serve that role. And there are many like aggregators out there who are aggregating on one chain today, but they'll do it on multiple chains in the future.
Okay, let's talk about the partnership with Sushi, which you have announced. I think was not a month yet, but like. And tell me what was the reason of it and what you are going to do together.
Yeah, so with the Sushi partnership, it's really about bringing them to multi-chain and scaling them into another community, which is the Harmony community. And we are the first is obviously launching Sushiswap with incentives, so you can go and get very good incentives by being a liquidity provider, by staking on Sushi. And we're going to launch the full suite of Sushi products, including their Kashi lending protocol. So many people know Sushi as a automated market maker, like a decentralized exchange, but actually I think of them as a diversified, financial platform, right? The way you can think of JP Morgan or Citigroup or any of these projects, but of course, decentralized and on an open platform. So you can envision them providing many financial services in the future to people, whether it's lending, whether it's trading, whether it's growing their capital base. I mean, there are a number of things that they can do, right? Miso is their launchpad for new projects to raise capital. It's just like when people used to do initial public offerings, now people can do initial token offerings via something like Miso on Sushi, right? So they have a whole range of products, and we're bringing that to Harmony with incentives to our users, and hopefully, in the future, we can partner with Sushi to do so many more things, and they can take advantage of our bridges to get assets from different chains. Like for example, we just bridged to Terra, and the UST stablecoin is coming to Harmony, and it can launch also as a pool on Sushi. It can be used as a collateral on Sushi, on Kashi lending. So we see composability and a lot of potential opportunities everywhere.
It's interesting. So basically you see Sushi as a really pool of innovation. That's really what you're saying. And obviously there is a lot that decentralized finance is not really doing so much. I'm thinking about option derivatives, tokenization of shares, assets that started, but is still in the very early stage. I think the main things was about lending and borrowing, really, that has been kind of like the beginning. But okay, that's quite interesting. So if we talk about NFTs and digital identity. So this is something that I'm really interested. Do you maybe want to tell me what work Harmony have done in the NFT space and digital identity, and then we talk a bit about the metaverses?
Yeah. So big topic. We have launched our NFT market. Our community has launched our NFT marketplace for the last few months, and we're seeing really great engagement from artists. Over thousands of artists minting tens of thousands of NFTs. And one of the reasons is because it's very affordable and easy to use, and of course a lot of creativity, right, can spawn from that. And with bridges, we can also bridge NFTs and build that into our bridge as a way to it's just an asset, right? It's a ERC 721, ERC 1155, which have the equivalent HRC 721, HRC 1155 on Harmony, and so it's all compatible across chains. But
give me an example of bridging NFTs. So give me a practical example. I will need to bridge one.
Yeah. So for example, there can be a lot of things you could do. So this is still waiting to be implemented, but you can bridge like the high value NFT that you have on ETH and bridge it to Harmony and use it as a collateral to, lend from the Harmony ecosystem on some product, on some DeFi products. These are all the open design space, and these ideas can all be done.
Yeah.
And one other thing is we're hosting a hackathon right now that just announced yesterday with $1 million of prizes, and we're open to all of these application ideas across NFT, DAOs, DeFi, of course, and then seeing how they might work together and be composable across chain.
Yeah, I think it's a space that is evolving, but it's very interesting about using NFTs as a collateral, perhaps. Maybe to consume some kind of art or something that maybe you have to put as an NFT as a collateral. Maybe I'm just kind of brainstorming while I'm talking to you, but it's very exciting. And what about digital identities?
Yeah, so right now, for example, we have some interesting concepts and products that we've launched in digital identity. So we, for our community, we have this thing called crazy.one subdomains. So basically we own the domain crazy.one, like you're a crazy one, like here's to the crazy ones, Apple, Steve Jobs, ethos. And so now, like, for example, you can be Stephanie.crazy.one. And I'm Lee.crazy.one. And that's actually a subdomain that I own. It's just like ENS, you rented. And that's my identity. It points to a very specific website. It points to our website with your Twitter profile on it, with your specific Twitter profile. So it's unique to you. And this identity is your NFT and identity within the Harmony ecosystem. It can be tied to your wallet address. And it's something that you really own, right? So that's just one concept that's live and working today, but we have many ideas around people forming identities on chain.
And it's very interesting, the fact like merging different kind of identity. I think that's so cool, and that come back so much about, with Web3 and right. So before we talk about the metaverses, let's just answer this question. What's great about Web3?
What's great about it?
Web3,
Yeah, to me, what's great about Web3 is the openness and permissionlessness of innovation, which means that anyone can come build, and if you're the best builder, regardless of your background, age, experience, it's amazing, and it allows products to be launched so much faster than the traditional world. I think crypto is innovating at 10, if not 100 times the speed of a lot of other industries. And it's just going to keep compounding as we build more things, as the infrastructure gets better, which hopefully Harmony can do, as we make the developer experience easier. The amount of innovation on Web3 is going to be so overwhelming. I mean, even today, right? You and I we work here full time and we can't follow everything. And it's just going to feel like more and more of that in the coming years. And the ultimate is giving really 7 billion people in the world an opportunity, a fair and open opportunity to participate in the economy, to participate in building something that is of value. And that's the goal, right? We say Harmony is open consensus for 10 billion people. It really means that this technology can help 10 billion people.
And that's where the concept of digital identity comes in, because Web3, that's the way that, you kind of interact. And okay, metaverses.
Yes.
So is that going to be the new reality? And because obviously Harmony is focused about cross-chain interoperability, are we going to see interoperability between metaverses? How do you see the metaverse space?
So I would say I'm not an expert on metaverses. I know that there are some gaming companies building their version of metaverse on Harmony as well. A couple of them are launching, but I think that's very interesting. I think we'll have probably parallel worlds. Like there will, of course, always be the real world. Like even now, we still enjoy meeting each other in person and living most of our lives in the real world. Maybe that's our generation, right? And the next generation could be much more leaning forward into the metaverse. And of course, these companies can be cross-chain, multi-chain. I would have to think about how they would do that today, but I think there are already very good communities being built in this way. But I think that's one of the things I would say it's very exciting, but maybe a little bit far off for me to see.
Yeah, well, I guess the things will still be about interoperability, because if you have some assets and NFTs that you want to bring from one metaverse to the other one, and also digital identities as well. How do you cross over different metaverses, maintaining your integrity, if that kind of makes sense? So yeah. It is definitely an interesting space, and I can understand that not everybody is kind of obsessed with that, but for me it's become kind of like an obsession. So I'm kind of interested to see what people think, and hopefully there will be a space where there is a cross-chain interoperability is all like very easy. Okay, so you mentioned a few times Harmony community, and it looks like it's quite active. And
yes.
Tell me a little bit about what's your plan to grow the community, and also how the current community is helping the project to progress.
Yeah, our community is super amazing. We call it our one family, right? ONE, Harmony One, and they really help in everything that we do, from working with our products, just coming in and participating, minting NFTs. I mean, they do everything that you can imagine that someone can do in the blockchain world, and they're also huge supporters of us, right? They help us on promoting our AMAs, everything that we do to spread the word, and hopefully kind of even cross-pollinate our culture, value, our roadmap, our milestones to other communities. And actually we've set out to form a community DAO. We've pretty much halfway through the process of bootstrapping that up to really having 9 great governors driving the community DAO, and having the community drive a lot of these initiatives. And we've created 3 mandates for that DAO to kind of scale us up and really bring us to the next wave of people coming into blockchain, right? We love for the community to keep pushing us out there in terms of going into different communities. And we love for people whose first experience with blockchain to be understanding Harmony, knowing us. And so, yeah, the community is very active, and we're going to help them be even more active with our DAOs, and by giving them funding to drive a lot of these initiatives and drive the mandates of the entire ecosystem.
Okay, before we wrap it up, last thing so we haven't mentioned is about your token. So tell me a little bit the use, the utility.
Yeah, so the Harmony One token is the native token on our chain. It's been live for 2 years since our actually Binance launchpad, and it's used for transactions. It's used for governance for all the key decisions in the future will be used for that. It's used for staking. It's used for all of the transactions of all the applications. But yeah, primarily it is the utility token of the entire ecosystem. So that's what the token does. And our main goal is to create more and more utility in the ecosystem so that our token becomes a much wider use utility effectively.
Well, I think with more and more collaboration you do, more and more
Yeah.
projects, there will be also the cross-chain utility of the token will pollinate across,
Yes, exactly.
So I can see that happening. Right. So where do we send the people to find you and to, if they want to know more about Harmony, where they should go?
Yeah, so the best place, actually, we're very active on Twitter. I'm personally also active. So it's just at Harmony Protocol on Twitter. Obviously, our website is there, harmony.one. And you can find me very easily if you probably just search my name and Harmony and you'll find me. My Twitter handle is a bit long, but yeah, it's very easy to find us. We're very open and welcoming as a community. So there are so many new members that are ready to welcome you if you are interested in Harmony, if you're interested in staking, if you're interested in some of our application. Everyone will actually be very happy to share and onboard new community members.
Okay, Li, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you again. This is great.
All right, that was a good chat with Li, and yeah, we got to the same conclusion that looks like the future is going to be multi-chain, all working together, each chain specialized on something, and the ultimate goal to serve a user with the best user experience and with the best product in a completely new decentralized finance environment. That's a pretty exciting time to live and to watch all this ecosystem to take in shape. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the show, and stay tuned for the next one. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, click the subscribe button and follow us on social media to stay up to date with our news and interviews. And I will see you next time.